Welcome back, you guys. Well, we have taken few steps so far and we need to take another step in order to complete our design. The first thing I want to fix in this session is our colors. As you can see, we have used a solid color for our background, but now we need to fix it to gradient. Well, first of all, you do not need to know the rules of gradients because let's see here. Let's first introduce a new website, and the website is called uagradients.com. And when you hit UA gradients, you can see these arrows, and you can go and see different type of gradients, and there's even an option here to copy the CSS code. For example, the gradient that we want to use is two colors, and it starts from a color to another color from left to right. And if you take a look at these gradients, we will find so many gradients that are similar to this one. We can go here and there's an option get CSS. Here I click on this and I click copy to clipboard. I can go here and in my body and replace it with this and hit Control V so that I can paste this. And here is our CSS code here. As you can see, in CSS, commenting is a bit different. In HTML, we had these characters for our comments. We wrapped our text inside these characters, but in CSS, we have these characters for commenting. And another thing that I want you to notice is that we have used background color. We have another thing which we will see in future, background image, and something that is here is background with nothing. Well, background with nothing is almost similar, we can say almost as same as background color and background image, but in background color we can only write a color, and in background image we will write down the path to an image and we will use that image as a background image. But in background we can use color. If we use color, it detects that it's a color, and if we use a path, it detects that it's a file. But it has some other differences. We will see them in future, but for now, imagine that background is the same as background color and background image. So this is our comments, and another thing that I want you to notice is that these hex codes, they are called hex. And as I told you before, we have more than 16 million colors in CSS, and we cannot have a name for all of them. So that's why these hex codes, or RGB, they have come. And one of the ways to determine the color is this all these hex codes. So the designer gives us a hex code for the color that he wants. And if we go back to this design that we have, if I clicked on this, nothing happens because it's locked. I can go here. As you can see, this is my group one. I hovered this is the second one. On this, I can unlock this and I can navigate between this. There's an image. This is a rectangle here, and this is another thing. And here there's group 1, group 2. I can unlock all of them or select any one of them from this navigation menu. And also I can right click on this. Let's use two ways. One, from this gradients. The second one, I want to use background image. I want to download this exactly as a background image. I can right click on this and I can click on copy as SVG. Okay, I can copy the content as SVG, and I can come to my codes here and create a new file and call it background.svg and paste that code here. And this is not the SVG that I wanted. Let's see what is this that I pasted here. Let's go to my codes here this background SVG. Yeah, I copied all of them, but it's not working. It's just an image. It's just an SVG image. Let's get back to our gradients. I just want to copy this section, not all of them. So let's go here and select this one time more, copy as SVG. I just want to copy the background. Usually the UI UX designer gives us everything in a zip file. So but let's see how can we even download our parts if we want. And another thing that I want to say, there's an images folder which I have downloaded all of the, for example, this plants.svg, and the format or the extension of the files are svg here, or the person, or look at this, the person, all of the elements are inside this images folder so that you have them. And also I need to once more mention that you can download the files of this project, everything, in yourdailycodes.com/downloads. So let's get back to our VS Code here and clean them all and paste this. Yes, this is the SVG that I copied. So I can go here, go back here, and open this background SVG, and this is the background that I wanted. So the first thing that I can do is that use background image instead of background color. Okay, let's get back to our codes here, close that, and let's comment this for now. I highlight all of them and hit Control/. So I have commented everything here. And let's create another thing. This is our body, and use background image for my thing that I want to use. So when we are going to use background image, we need to use something called URL. And in URL, in this parentheses, we write down the path to the file of that file that we want. For example, this index.html and background svg are in same folder. So if I want to write down the path of this background svg, I just write down background.svg, and it will attach that. Let's just cut this and hit Control-N, and this is an untitled document, and I paste it here. I keep that here for now. I will use that later again because I want to have this piece of code, but for now I just want to delete that. So I have used the background image, and I have attached that background SVG in my document here, and hit refresh, and as you can see, the background has been loaded. The background image has been loaded. And there's something else I want to say. If we have spaces in our file name, we have to use these single quotes in order to work, because if we have spaces in our file name, this syntax without using single quotes would not work anymore. We can use also double quotes as well, but single quotes are better and considered best practice in these circumstances. So let's use single quotes. And also, now that I'm mentioning single quotes and double quotes, in HTML we can use single quotes as well, but it's recommended to use double quote for sure. So okay, and something else that I want to say about path writing. So let's imagine this background SVG is inside this images folder, and I want to say move. I drag and drop and move that. So this will no longer work, because when I say background image URL background SVG, it means go ahead and find background SVG. Where you can find this file? Inside this same folder, inside this folder. And since there is no background SVG in this folder, this cannot be found anymore. And if I hit F12 or go to inspect, you can see in console it will tell us that we have an error and background SVG hasn't been found. So we can, in order to fix it, we first need to go specify that you first need to go inside images folder. And where is images folder? As same as the index.html exists. So I can write images folder and then go background.svg, attach background.svg. This is the path writing rule. We will see some more rules. For example, go to the previous folder. There are some other rules for that, but for now, if you learn this, it's enough for the moment. So go inside images folder and attach this background SVG, and you can now hit refresh. Okay, so let's get back to our code, and we now know how to use background image. I comment this so that you have this in future. I comment this piece of code, and let's get back that untitled, and let's copy all of this and go back to our CSS code and paste them all here. Okay, as you can see now, we have a background image, and this is for older browsers. If you have a very old browser that does not support gradients, it will fall back to only solid background color that we had. But what are the codes, the color code? We said in any color has a code. Let's first select this one. In order to select this, I need to go here. I'm hovering all of them, so this is one of the codes. Let's copy that and use that as our pink. Let's get back to our code. Let's use that as our pink. This is our pink, and our blue. What's our blue? We can go here and find it inside this. This is our rectangle, and this is the code. So we have found the codes correctly, but I'm not sure if the direction is correct. Hit refresh. Yes, the direction is not correct. The blue one is left, and the pink one is on right. So let's use this. We can replace the colors. For example, we have used pink on this here. We can replace the colors, switch the colors, but we can also use this to right and use it to left. For now, you do not need to worry about these rules, because for now, just learn how to copy and paste these gradient rules, and the only thing that you need to just modify them. For example, not right left, these are the things I want you to fix. So now I think our gradient is fixed, and that's it. You learned everything that I wanted you to learn in this session, and let's sum up what we learned. And there's something extra in this PowerPoint this session, and pay attention to this. So first thing that we learned in this session is how to use hex colors, and hex colors are a way to name all of those 16 million colors, and usually the UI UX designer gives us the codes so that we do not have to go through the design and find that. Don't try to learn gradient rules at this stage at all. Don't try to learn that at all, but just learn how to customize that. For example, to right, you just replace that to left, or you can navigate between different gradients and use what you want in your website. And the other thing is about comments in CSS. In CSS, comments use different characters, and this single quote and double quote was something important that I mentioned. You can use both, but it's best practice to use single quote in CSS and double quote in HTML. Don't forget that. So, and this path writing that we just did is very important. For now, we used it for our background in background image in CSS, but it also can be used in HTML. For example, we will become familiar with link tag in next sessions, or even in a tag. Sometimes we use external tags, for example, https somewhere.com, but sometimes we use internal links, and we just write down the path of another index.html file, and when user clicks on that link, it will be redirected to the other HTML file that we have. Or in img tag is something that we will see in future, that in img tags we need to, for example, let's imagine that we want to use an image in our project. So we need to specify the path into browser in order to find and locate that image that we want to use. So this path writing is very important, and we will be used for different things. Okay, and this is the special thing that we have in this session, is that these are the CSS properties that we have learned so far. And if you know all of these CSS properties and you know what they do, you are learning great. And these are our HTML tags, and except the last one, this input, the last one, all of them we now know what they're for, except that stupid doc type HTML. I don't know, I never liked that doc type HTML. So what? Why do we even have to include that in every document that we have? But the other tags, first of all, I mentioned that where do you need to use it, inside head or body. And when something is inside head, the inline or block does not mean anything to that. And I forgot to put double or single for these, but title and style are double, as you know. And these are the HTML tags that we know so far. And I have mentioned that if they are block or inline or anything, but for example, and this, if any of them has a specific attribute, I have mentioned, for example, a tag has a specific attribute which is href, and in input we have so many attributes. We will see about input in next session, and take it and attention, the display is inline block, nor block nor inline. Some elements have inline block by default, and what is inline block we will learn in next session. So this is it. See you in next session.